See the bottom right.
Hey,
See the bottom right.
Evening. Okay, we here. Something happened I don't know what happened, but anyway, well, welcome to the table talk, women's table talk tonight.
hey, fam.
Well, hey, Angelique, is Miss and is your our buddy coming? Our next guest.
Yeah, she's supposed to be on. She said she was.
Okay. So, how are you doing on this nice white day in Dallas, Texas?
Trying to stay warm.
Oh yeah, you liking the snow?
When this weather bad.
Oh yeah, me too.
No.
I was hoping it didn't come this way.
No,
But I guess
no.
I guess some prayers just don't get answered, do it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Okay, especially when they selfish prayers. Okay, well, anyway, thank you for joining us tonight for our women's table talk. I am your host, Lady P. This is my guest, Angelique Ross. Mm-hmm. We have Miss Sister Fisher coming in shortly. But anyway, we are talking about tonight about regrets in relationship. Now, last Tuesday, we talked about regrets in relationship with single people. So tonight it's going to be on marriage. So if you did not look at, if you missed it last week, you need to go back and look at the replay. Also, I would like you to like and share tonight. And we also welcome your comments tonight too. So anyway, Sister Angelique Ross, I'm going to let you talk a little about regrets with marriage. And she has frozen. I don't know what happened, but anyway. So anyway, when I got to think about regrets, I'm going to be, okay, there she go. I'm going to talk about regrets. You know, when I think about regrets, I think about something that I have done or said that I regret. And when I say regret, you ask yourself the question, if I go back, what could have I done differently? So to me, that's the sum up of regrets. Because I look back at my life as a single person, which we talked about last week. And okay, now talking about marriage, I've been married before. So I can look at myself and say, okay, Pam, what did you do? What could you have done differently in the marriage? So I was asking myself that the question the night before I came on. I said, well, what I could have done differently was not marry him at all. So anyway, you know,
but you didn't know though. You didn't know what you were going to have to deal with, or what you were going to go through.
Angelique, I did know.
Oh, did you?
All of the signs was there in the dating. Oh. So I'm not gonna lie and say I didn't know. No, I ain't gonna say that. Now he did put up a good front. He didn't smoke. He didn't drink. He didn't cuss. And when I said I do, he cussed, he smoked, and he drank. So anyway, he wow. You know, he showed, I mean, he did it for a while. I mean, to keep it up for a long time. So anyway, but yeah, that's the only thing I regret is this. I shouldn't have married him. But anyway, so tonight, I just want you to talk about it. You know, I'm going to go back and forth with you until, you know, Angela get on. So anyway, I'm going to let you have the floor.
And she's calling me. So just talk just a few seconds. Let me see what her issue is.
Okay, then. Okay. Well, anyway, again, like I said, we're talking about regrets in marriage. I'm quite sure the audience that's listening tonight, maybe you've been married, you are married right now, you're divorced, or maybe you're engaged, you know, thinking about getting married or preparing to get married, or you're still single and wanting to get married. So tonight, like I say, I hope something is being said that can make you think, you know, because like I said in the beginning of the show, my biggest regret was marrying somebody I shouldn't have never married. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say that I didn't know. All the red flags, red, white, and blue was flying over my head. And I ignored every last one of them. You know, and I got to think about regrets too. You know, sometimes people get married for the wrong reasons.
True.
They get married because you're pregnant. Somebody got pregnant.
Angela said you have to let her in, Pam. I'm sorry.
Okay, what'd you say?
She said she's there, but she can't. You have to let her in.
Okay, Lamarck, you have to let her in. I can't on my end.
Okay.
He's at the studio. He has to do that. So anyway, I think about guys. He said, well, I'm gonna go ahead and marry her because she's pregnant. Or you living together and you don't want to live together. You want to do it right. So you get married for that reason. You know. Yeah. And sometimes people get married for benefits, you know. True. Oh, well, he can take care of me. Wrong reason. Yes. True. Wrong reason.
True. And I have to say, I'll have to say I've been married. This is my second marriage.
Mm-hmm.
I did get married the first time. I can honestly say the first time I got married was I did it out of what he could do for me and my
Mm.
children. And it wasn't out of love. But as time went on, I grew to love him.
Okay.
And I was learning because I was younger then, and life is a learning experience. I was, I know the Bible and I know what the word says, and I know that you should marry someone, with the approval of God and with His blessing. But sometimes we be selfish.
Yes.
Sometimes we think about what we want or what is.
Hey, say something so we can hear you.
I'm the pop-up queen. I just
Right.
popped up. I've been backstage listening to you guys, waiting to come in.
He say the best for last.
Good
Yeah.
evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you, Apostle Mark, for bringing me in. Good to see y'all, ladies. Good to see y'all.
Yes.
Yeah, we made it day 2.
Day
I
2.
know.
And I was letting everyone know that last week we was talking about regrets in relationship being single, and tonight we're talking about regret in relationship being married. So the thing about it, I've been married. I'm single now, divorced, and you ladies are still married. So we're each going to come in our own way tonight. So Angelique was saying something. Go ahead, Angelique.
Okay, I was talking about my first marriage because this is my second. I did marry. My regret with that marriage is I didn't marry with God's blessing. I didn't marry for the right reasons.
Yes.
And like I said, sometimes we do things in being selfish and self-centered, thinking about, okay, well, I know this is the best thing for me. But at the end, it doesn't work out the same because I realized the hurt is just as worse as if you did do it. So that was my regret with that. I didn't marry him because I loved him. I married him for what he could do for me and do for my family, and it didn't last long. So yeah.
So you said that you grew to love him. She's frozen again. Okay, Angela, you can get started. Take it where she left off.
I was getting that good tea from Angelique. She'll come back with us pretty soon. When it comes to regrets in marriage, the thing we had a whirlwind romance. So we met and married in 7 months.
Oh wow, okay.
And so the regret that I had from that, later on, was that I didn't take enough time to get to know him. It's so important, the dating process.
Yes.
So, you hear stories a lot of time when people meet and marry in 3 months or 6 months. And it's all good, but I just sort of wish that I had took a little more time, because I'm a very careful person. I don't like to make rash decisions or jump into things really quick. So there may be that part of me that's, that I'm speaking from. But I just think it's so important to really get to know people, know their habits, know their family. They know your family, know their ways before you walk down that aisle of commitment. It's a big commitment, because everybody goes in it with, this is going to be my only one, right? And it doesn't happen like that. And it's not that I regret marrying him. I just regret not getting to know things, and then being young and not getting to know, things more on a deeper level than I should have. So.
Right. And you know what? And when you get married, you still don't know everything.
Correct.
You don't know a person till you live with them.
Yes.
You can date for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but when you bring your suitcase in his house, or he bring his suitcase in your house,
it changes.
Hey, it changes. Yes. So I'm saying, I don't care how long you date a person, you will never know a person till you live with them.
Correct. And I think that's where I was saying it was a lot from that careful, cautious side. And it was I should have, because we actually did lived together for a few months before we, said I did. Actually, a couple of months before we said
Okay.
I do. So it was just, just you're young, you see the red flags like you said earlier, but
Right.
you ignore things, and
Yes.
so you're like, well, maybe I should have just waited a little bit. But you're right. People date 5-10 years and get married and they
Still don't
divorce
know them. Still
month.
don't know 'em. You still don't know them. I'm
You
telling
don't
you.
know them.
I mean, because and a lady asked me last week when we did the one on singles. She
Yeah.
said, well, Pam, how long do you date a person until you feel like it's time to get married to the next level? I think it depends on the individual,
Yes.
because I've known people that date for 3 months and has been married for 30 years.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I've known people who have dated for 5 years and probably last 1 year when they got married. So it
Mm.
depends on the person. So anyway, yeah, I think it do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the
Yeah.
most
It's good.
important thing, we're talking about regrets, but just
Right.
being married is getting to know that person. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like me. I get what you're saying. Some people get married, date and, for years and years, and you really don't know until you say I do. The difference between my first marriage and this marriage, I was with Patrick for almost 10 years before we got married. And
Mm.
we actually lived together. Now, at the beginning, because I know what the word says, and me growing up in a Baptist church, you're not supposed to live with a man
Right.
before marriage and all of this. I right now, I'm going to say it's just traditional. That's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to say.
Mm-hmm.
Because
She froze again. So you know what? Okay, I'm gonna ask a
get to
question.
see how people, yeah.
You come? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So, I think that's very important to be able
Mm.
to live under the same roof with someone, get to see their day to day activities, and get to know who they are. Because I knew what I liked about Patrick then, and I
Mm-hmm.
knew what I didn't like about him then,
Yeah.
just as well as I do now. But the difference is now that we're married, it's not a surprise to me.
Right.
And
So
the
things
things
that.
that I do are not a surprise to him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that to me makes a big difference. Now I have some regrets in certain areas, but as far as knowing him, I know him because he hadn't changed really. He hadn't changed his pattern as far as the things he used to do to a
Mm-hmm.
certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain degree.
Okay.
So, I could go on and on, but I'm gonna let y'all talk. Go ahead.
Okay, Lady Fisher.
Well, yeah. And it goes back to, so you were saying that you guys were dating and living together for a long time, where in my situation it was quick. And we didn't live together for a long time, and we didn't date for a long time before we got married. And so it was sort of like, as we said I do, then the things were starting to really, really, reveal themselves. And it's true, you'll never know people. You can date 10 years, 25, and you'll never know people, right? Because we're real good about how, not revealing full disclosure of
Right.
everything
Yeah.
about us.
Yeah. Oh no, some of that. Hiding a
we
little bit.
don't,
I can't
we don't
share
always,
everything.
we don't give full disclosure until we say I do and walk down
Right.
the aisle, say I do.
Right.
But when you're in a quick romance or relationship or things like that, then you're starting to see things and learn things after the fact, so
Right.
it kind of, so you have to decide. And this may not apply to everyone, but it's just a scenario that I can speak on. And so then you're trying to and then you're really young, and so you're
Mm-hmm.
growing together, because I don't know how old you guys were when you first got married, but at 22, you think you know yourself. You don't really know yourself. If
You
you
don't
look
know.
at where we are now and look at where we were at 22, we didn't know nothing,
Oh no,
right?
thank God for Jesus.
And so, when I think about it, I'm like, I was mature, but I wasn't experienced. I
That's right.
wasn't seasoned. And so then you're going through this period of you're married, but you're actually growing up together, and
Right.
you're maturing at different levels.
Right.
right? And
That's
so
true.
then it takes a lot of work. It
Yeah,
takes a
right.
lot of work. Yeah.
Do you think that I mean I'm gonna ask you ladies. I know for myself. I think when you're dating someone and you're talking about marriage, I think you need to ask questions. And
Yes.
that's what we don't do. I'm guilty of
Yes.
that. And then I've learned when I do ask questions, it's gonna either bring you to me or run your way.
Yes.
And trust me, it has ran some away because I asked the right questions. Not just, I mean,
Yes.
I was asking questions for if you're gonna be my future person in my life, you should not have a problem with me asking you questions. I'm not asking questions to be, some guys tell me, oh, she nagged too much. No, it's not nagging. I think when a woman shut down and be quiet, that's when you should be concerned.
That's when you should be
When I
concerned.
shut up, when I get silent, when I get quiet, that's you don't want me there.
Yeah.
Because I am guilty of shutting down. I mean, when I feel like I'm asking you something, it make me feel like I'm not being heard but I'm
Hmm.
asking questions for a reason. I'm
Right.
not just asking questions because I don't have nothing to do. When I ask you questions to me, that's letting me know that you are important to me.
Hmm.
Because you don't ask people questions if they're not important to you. They don't matter. You don't care.
You don't
Yeah,
ask a
true.
But I
thing.
think sometimes guys do not get it. You
You know,
know,
they always say, what was the song R. Kelly said, when a woman's fed up,
oh
you
God,
know,
yes.
and it's kind of like most women that I know, when we're fed up is when we shut down. And
Yes.
when we get to
Mm,
Yes.
that state, when we stop talking, when we
Yeah.
get, and it's always, I try to balance it and be,
Right.
see both perspectives because every
Right.
woman is different. But I know the lot of women that, including myself, um, that has said what you said and what I'm saying. When we stop talking,
Mm-hmm.
fellas, look out, because that means that either we've given up or we're done and we've made up our mind. Okay, I'm going to get away from this because
Right.
we're talkative. I know I'm talkative, and I know
I
some.
am too. Yes.
Right. I'm always asking the questions. I'm
Mhm.
expressing myself. I'm, trying to. And to me, when I'm doing those things, it means that I'm really trying to resolve the issue and the problem. So once I stop talking,
Mhm.
normally it means that 9 times out of 10, I'm through with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
and let me say something about that because I'm the one that don't talk that much. I don't. My husband loves to talk, but I like to sit back and pay attention and observe.
Mhm.
And one thing I think some of us do as women, we demand our husbands for something that they don't know how to deliver.
Correct.
Okay, so like Pam, you were saying you always asking questions.
Mhm.
Some of these men have not been taught, or they got an old way of being taught, old school ways of being taught,
So
and
it.
but you have your way of being taught as well. Not
Mhm.
making it like they say opposites attract, but I
Mhm.
think we have to be patient
That's
to
true.
allow them to see this is very important to her. And although I don't want to open up to her and give her all the answers that she wants,
Mhm. Mhm.
I do understand that it's important. And because I love her,
Right.
I want to be able to give her some of me, some of that. So
Mhm.
God, you have to get it from God,
Right.
especially if you don't have it. You have to ask God, help me to be able to give her what she needs.
Yes.
And I think a lot of time in marriages, we as
You must have a bad signal over there where she lives.
Uh-huh. I think so.
to
Um.
give them
You
that.
know.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Go ahead, because you
Okay.
froze.
Well,
But
actually, you're freezing, so.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's probably your internet. But anyway, you said something about patience. And Angela, that's true because when you involve with somebody, you really want them to trust you.
Yes.
Because really, I'm not going to give a person all of my whole life if I don't trust you, no way. So,
Mm,
like you say, they haven't been taught, but then they don't have to be taught. I think they have to trust you. Like if they open up to you and they be themselves, you won't take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? And use that against them.
mhm.
Because
yes.
we as women, I think we talk too much. My daughter tells me all the time I talk too much. She said, Mom, you talk too much. You give too much information.
And
So
sometimes it's
I'm
good to hold
learning.
on.
Huh?
Sometimes it's good to hold on to some of those questions or hold on to some of
Yeah,
that
that's
information you
true.
give out.
Yeah, that's
Let
true.
them wonder. Let them. see where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's good to sit back and let to see where the man comes from and how he actually feels.
Right.
You know,
So you saying we regret because we talk too much. We don't like we say something we maybe shouldn't have said it. Is that what she was saying, Angela? Angela.
I think so, and then and
Okay.
I agree because I'm always the middle person. I believe in there's
Right.
two sides, and I really truly try to be
Mm-hmm.
like fair and try to hear both perspectives.
Yes.
And I do agree, with what she's saying that a lot of times maybe they don't know how they weren't taught how to communicate, and we were
Right.
very communicative because that's
Mm-hmm.
all we do is communicate, and
that's
you
right.
have to have that balance. And
Yes.
I remember my it was my sister. She said she was letting her years ago, letting her husband have it. He was like, hold some of that for later. Hold some of that like
Yeah.
Oh, girl.
she said she was giving him the business, and he was like, can you hold some of that for later on? Like, I don't need it all at this time.
Yeah, yeah.
Give me bits and pieces, and give me something, and then let me think about it. Let me marinate on it. Let me,
Right.
and then come back. And I think as women that we're guilty of, as some women, of just, it's coming like a machine gun.
Oh yeah. Because I
Because
guess
that's
we
how we are.
we
We
have
want
so
things
much.
when we want it.
Well, we
Give
have
it too
so
much.
much,
They can't
you
absorb
have
it.
so much, but we have to bring balance. You know what I'm saying?
We
Because
have to
Yeah.
bring balance.
yeah, because you know what, even when you're married, like I said, even we're talking about regrets tonight.
Hmm.
You have to be careful how you handle your spouse.
Hmm.
Of course.
Very much
No,
so.
because like you say, they looking for respect.
Yes.
True.
If you
Correct.
respect them and boost up their ego,
Yes.
make them feel like they on top of the world, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You have to do
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's true.
And I
So
didn't get that when I got married this time with the Patrick.
mhm,
I
mhm,
didn't get that stroking egos. Like, what? You a man. You supposed to be the head. You supposed
right.
to be the leader. I'm supposed to be by your side. You supposed to be
Mhm,
guiding me.
mhm,
Boost your ego for what? I didn't get that. So
right.
I had to humble myself and talk to a
Hmm.
couple of my elderly women,
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
women.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But you know what, Angela? I hear she say talking about other elderly women. That's okay. But what about who is the best person to talk to? Is your spouse. You ask your spouse what he wants because he can tell you better than the women. And okay, it's okay to talk to somebody, but sometimes you have to go to the person and say, "Well, what do you want?" You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because they can tell you.
I
Because
agree. I
another
agree.
woman, but I'm saying another woman don't know your man.
True. True.
You live with him, right?
That's right. But what I was saying is what I was saying when going to someone else getting
Mhm.
information. What is this that I'm supposed to boost my husband's ego, make him feel like what? I didn't understand.
Right.
Hmm.
So asking him a question that he's expecting for me to give, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I felt like
Hmm.
going to someone that has been in a marriage for a while, that has been in marriage for 40 and 50 years.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think that's a signal. Lamar Thomas, my pillow talk is the way to reach a man. Well, yeah,
It,
that's true.
it's true. It's true. And I've gotten wisdom from older,
Hmm.
women. Not very many, but just like my mom when she was here.
Hmm.
God rest her soul, because my mom had been married three times. The
Hmm.
first time she was a widow with my dad. He died when I was a baby, and then she stayed single for like 10 years, and then she
Right.
married my younger sister's dad and had my younger sister, and she divorced from him, and then she married my brother's dad. My brother's the baby, and they stayed married for like 22 years
Hmm.
before they divorced. And one thing I would say is that that I really respected my mom for is that when I would the first time I asked her for marital advice, she just looked me point blank in the face. She said, "I can't tell you nothing. I've been married 3 times."
Thank you,
You
Mama, for your
asking the
honesty.
wrong person, girl. She
Well,
said,
you
"I'm
know
on
what?
my
Well,
third
you
one
see
trying
that
to make this
Instead
work."
of trying to
And
get it right.
if
I
she been
respected
married
her
three
for,
times, then she have a lot of experience.
but she gave me wisdom according with marriage according to the situation. Like, she
Right.
never told me to make a choice. She never said,
Mhm.
one thing I can tell you, if my mom been gone 3 years, she's never told me leave him. She never told me get a divorce. She never gave me any ungodly counsel. My
Right.
mom always told me, look to the word, seek
Mm-hmm.
God. She said,
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you what to do. I'll just support you in whatever decision you make.
That's
So when
right.
I would get wisdom advice from women, it was very few. And it would only be the ones that I saw that their marriage was effective or that I felt like they had enough experience,
Right. Right.
So, and then I would do the ask him, what is it that you need? What do
Mm-hmm.
you want? What can we do? And sometimes the communication would be there and sometimes it wouldn't. So
Right.
if you can ask him, what do you want? But if he's not telling you or he's not able to communicate that to you, then I always say, hey, go to the word, go to the book,
Right.
go to
Right.
God, because that's
Right.
really gonna be your ultimate helper.
Oh yeah. Okay. So you know what? I'm gonna take a pause right here. I sent Lamar Thomas a clip. I want us to watch that clip, and then I want you to tell me what you got out of the clip.
Okay.
3 times. And if I could say one thing about my experience, and I mean, you can take it or leave it, it's going to be this. Make sure that whoever you are dealing with, okay, whether it's, somebody you're dating, long term, short term, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whatever, make sure that wherever they are at that moment, and by that moment, I mean, if they don't lose any weight, if they don't get a better job, if they don't fix, the childhood trauma, if they got a cat and you don't like cats, wherever they are at that moment, if you cannot deal with that, if you're thinking about, oh, well, if they change this and they change that, and, over time, then we'll grow to be, if they don't change a thing, is that somebody that you want to commit yourself to? So I've been married and divorced 3 times. And if I could say,
Okay.
God made. So I've been
All
married.
right. And when I saw
God
this
made.
clip,
So I've
okay,
been
Gino
married and
Jennings.
divorced
That's Gino
3
Jennings.
times. And if I could say one.
Okay. When I sent him that clip, I used to go to IBOC,
Mm-hmm.
and it reminded me of what Ricky Rush said one time. He said, the person that you're dating, if they never changes anything about them, can you truly say, I can marry that person and be happy? So she was saying that, like, you see the signs, we were talking about the signs, like, you don't like cats. He got about 12 cats in his house. Are you going to ignore that? Okay, well, either he smoke. You can't stand cigarette smoke. Or are you going to ignore that? I have a friend right now. She likes the guy, but he dips snuff. Can you deal with that? He's a nice guy. I think he's a nice guy, but he dips snuff. I mean, so do them things matter when it's going forward in a relationship? I'm talking about getting serious with a person.
Mm-hmm.
So when I asked him to play that clip, that's what come to me, because sometimes we as women, like I said, I'm by myself. We are by ourselves, and we meet this guy. It's some things we like about him, but it's a whole bunch of things we don't like about him. What do we do at that point as far as dating that person and going into the marriage with him? And sometimes we do marry that person. And like Ricky Russ said, your eyes should be open when you're dating. When you say I do, you need to shut your eyes. You don't need to see nothing.
Mm.
The time that you need to be looking and watching and observing is when you're dating, in the dating process. But when you say I do, he said you're supposed to shut your eyes. You don't see nothing.
Are you on mute?
You're on mute, Ashley. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
No, I better not shut my eyes. No,
She
no,
better not shut her
no, I
eyes.
better not. No, because God don't leave us ignorant either.
Right,
And
right,
I must say, now we talking about how we feel about regrets. Men
right.
have a whole new different.
Well, she be talking some good stuff and then she freeze. Yeah. So anyway, like
But
Can y'all hear
no,
me?
you shouldn't shut your eyes when you're married. But I'm saying we see stuff when we're single and we're dating them and we just ignore all of that.
let me answer that question that you gave me, because
Okay.
I'm guilty of that, and I'm
Okay.
just going to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
When I first met my husband, he drunk a lot. He drank a lot, and I'm not a big drinker. That bothered me. I'm like, no, I can't deal with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he used to smoke cigarettes all the time, and I'm like, that is just a pet peeve. No, 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 no.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Angela.
She
It's
will let her
like a
finish.
pause night tonight, huh?
I said whenever she come back in, she can
Yeah.
finish. But
Yeah.
um, I don't believe in like shutting your eyes after you get married, but I do understand that in the dating process we see things, and I think because in the dating process we tend to ignore. We tend to
Mm-hmm.
ignore and say, "Oh, I can, oh, it ain't nothing," or "I can deal with this, I can deal with that."
Right.
But one thing will happen if it's a problem in the beginning, it's definitely
Yeah.
going to be a problem in the end. Because
Yeah.
here's the thing: over time, it's not going to get better. It's going to get deeper, and it'll begin to get a little worse. And then, people love each other, but let's be honest, we get on each other's nerves. And so that little bitty
Yeah.
thing that you think is cute now, 15 years down the road, it's going to grate your nerves. And he's gonna be like, "Well, you thought it was cute when I sucked my teeth when we first dated, but it's getting on my nerves now
Mm-hmm.
No,
because
for real.
you have to." And that's just life. It doesn't mean you don't love the person. It's just
Right.
when you're around people.
Right.
Your kids get on your nerves. You get
Right.
on his nerves. The dogs was made me late getting on, and they was getting on my nerves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't mean you don't love people. It just means that time spent with people, you're going to start to notice things that will pet peeves and little things like that.
Right.
And that's kind of like where prayer comes in. I truly believe that when you're dating somebody, if there are things about them that you really don't like, you have to make up your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, am I going to just deal with this, or am I going to do something different? Because it will, with prayer, things change. But over time, it really eventually start to bother you. So
Right, right. And the thing about it, when you're married, you need, like I said again, you have to learn your man, and
yes.
you're not going to learn everything. Um, you know, you're not going to learn everything in the first year. They say the first year is the hardest. They
Hmm.
say when you get through that first year, yeah. We as men love the woman we married, and as we are, we as men love the woman we married, as when we are not heard is when we shut down. Okay.
And I think that's a
But
two-way
I
street.
think we as women hear them, you know.
I
But
think
it's
we
like
hear them more than they hear us, but that's
that's
just
right.
my
They don't hear us. We
opinion.
do hear them. You know what? And the thing about it, because we're emotional people and we like to talk a lot sometimes, some of us, we do want to hear what they're saying. Because you know
Yeah.
what? I'd rather for you to tell me to go out there and get you a side chick and tell her.
Girl, you better say it.
Ah, hallelujah. Pass out the okay, give me the offering plate.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you on that. I got 10 on that. Yes, I got
Yeah.
10 on that.
You know what? I mean, but if you don't listen to him, somebody gonna listen to him.
That's true.
Correct.
That's true.
Correct.
Somebody gonna listen to him. So I mean, yeah, we want to hear. Yes, we want to hear our men's. Yes, we do. We
Yeah.
don't want you going out
But
there
we want the men to talk. We want them not to play games with
to
us,
shut
with our
down.
feelings.
Don't shut
Yeah,
down.
Yeah, don't
Talk.
because
play
he said we
us.
don't
Don't
talk
be
as
playing
much as
games.
ladies do, and that's true.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to talk, but the thing about it, you need to talk.
You need to.
You need to. Just like a guy told me one time, he said, Pam, he say this how we are. He say when we come in the house, we had a stressful day.
Yeah.
Just let us go to the room and wind down.
First.
That's okay first.
Don't meet me
You
at
know
the
what? If you
door.
don't wind down all night and the next morning you ain't saying nobody, you come in the house not saying nothing, that's a problem for me. At some point, you're gonna have to say something. You don't have to talk as much. I do. I talk a lot. I do. I talk a lot. But guess what? I can hear a lot too.
Hmm.
See, and like I say, that's what's wrong. A lot of guys, I'm not making an excuse for them going out there getting side chicks and women. But the point of it is you have to talk. We have to listen to each other.
Hmm. Communication is so important in marriage.
Right.
Like I want to say the number one reason they say statistics for
Mhm.
divorce is finance. Number two is communication. Adultery is like the third or
Communication.
fourth down the line.
That's right.
People divorce because I want. It may be now communication is the number one
I would
reason
say
why
number
people
one.
divorce, and
That's
number two is finances,
mhm.
and then number three is probably adultery and all that stuff. But
Okay.
isn't that, people think people get divorced because of they're cheating, but no, it's because
Mhm.
the communication breaks down and nobody's listening, nobody's hearing, nobody's
That's right.
communicating, and
Mhm.
then it just creates this wedge.
Right.
And here's the thing, fellas, for the men who are listening, he said that they talk by saying three words or
Three
less,
words. Yes.
but we're not mind readers.
We're not my. And what are
And
those
I
three
think
words? First of
sometimes
all, I
men
don't know what
think
the
we're
three
supposed
words
to
are.
say mind. I don't even know what the three words are. We're not mind readers, so
Hey, what's those three magic words?
No, he's just saying he's meaning that they don't say much.
They don't say
They
much.
need
Yeah,
to, but that's the problem.
yeah.
That's the
They don't
Angelique,
say
that's the
much.
problem.
Yeah.
We're here to listen. You don't have to talk right now. Go in there, wind down, cool off, lay down, whatever you need to do. But when you come back, you don't, you're back to yourself. Come on now.
He said, "Wow, we supposed to read between the lines when women talk." So we're not. So basically, I get out of his comment that maybe
Right.
we're not clear
I
with
think
our
we're clear. I ain't gonna say that.
they can't read between
Yeah,
the lines because some
They
people
don't
be
want
around
to
the
hear.
bush.
that's
They
right.
don't
That's
want to
right. That's
listen.
right.
They don't want
I'm
to
not gonna
believe.
say
They
that.
just
I'm not
ignore
gonna
it.
say that.
Lamarck is standing up for the men. You
Well,
represent.
go ahead on.
You
Hey,
represent.
this said
No,
women. This
Like
said
y'all don't
women
do
talk
the fellas
show.
like that. Say
He
y'all
said
not
y'all not
clear.
clear.
no.
Yes, we clear. We clear.
We're
We
clear.
clear. I ain't gonna say that. The majority of women are clear when we say something because we are emotional people. And when I say my toe hurt, what do I need to say? My toe hurt, right? What
Yeah.
did I need to say? My toe hurt.
I think the majority of women are clear with what
Yes,
they
we
say
are.
because we've thought about it. Before we said it, we have thought about
Women
it. I
are
don't know about y'all.
we
I'll
are
be
clear
like,
to
oh,
each other.
I'll be
Now we
clear.
clear to our man too. We clear
So
to our man, not just no other woman. I ain't gonna say that. I ain't gonna know.
women are clear to
Hey,
each other.
this is truly a topic that can go on a couple of more
It
sessions
sure
with
can.
it
It sure can.
because I'm listening to
Yeah.
him, and if he truly feels that way, being a man,
He said y'all want to fight.
somebody want to fight. What I asked you? Ask the question. Don't
You
start
know, we
talking about
do
what
be
we
kind
talked
of
about last
aggressive,
week.
y'all.
Answer the question
Listen,
this week.
y'all
See,
know we be
that's the
aggressive.
problem right there. You know what? I'm serious, being honest. Guys,
Yes.
come back. Y'all nag too much. Y'all just want to fight. That is not the truth.
That's not the
No.
truth. We want to
Okay, he
communicate.
say bye. I'm off the show. Okay, but
Okay,
anyway,
let
so
me
you
say
know
this.
what?
Here and stirred up the pot. See that be that?
Yeah,
See that's that
right.
stuff right there. You stir up the pot, then you
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah,
I just
we
believe
as women,
if a woman love you and she don't care nothing about you now, she don't want to hear you. But if she love you,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? That woman is there to be there for you. She's your not only your helpmeet, she's your
Uh-huh.
listener. She's everything to you.
Uh-huh.
So no,
Your
it just depends on.
confidant.
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, you with the wrong woman. If she don't want to hear nothing about you, what you got to say, you with the wrong one.
okay.
For
Well, let me
real.
go. I want to go back
Angelique,
to
come
the
on, tell
question.
us. 'Cause
Let me go
You
back
say,
to the
you
question
say
that
what
lady
is
was
love?
talking
What
about.
is love, y'all? He talking, okay, what is love?
Okay. Let me go back to the clip that he played. I want to go
Go
back to
ahead.
that.
Oh yeah,
I was
that's
telling
right.
y'all that my husband, he used to drink, he used to smoke, and that was like, oh, that's a turn off to
Mhm.
me. That's nothing I really wanted. But I feel like when someone really wants to get to know you, they really
Mhm.
want to be with you, and they
Mhm.
see a future for you, they're
Yes.
willing to give up some things. And
Yes.
yes.
he was willing to say, you know what, this bothers you. I have to
Right.
do what I need to do. And he
Right.
had to
Yes.
humble himself before God and ask God to give him the strength to do it. And
Yes.
I can say 10 years later, it's not one of his main thing. He don't have to have a drink every day. He
Mm-hmm.
don't drink like he used to. It's occasionally. And I appreciate that. I
Mhm.
appreciate
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Mhm.
that lets me know, that gave me incentives to say, he loves me. He
Mm-hmm.
loves me enough to leave something alone that he's been doing the majority of his life.
Right.
And I think
Yes.
that's very important. Show me. Show
Mhm.
me that you
Show
want this
me.
marriage. Show me that
Correct.
you're willing to, that you hear what I'm saying to you and you're
Mhm.
willing to do whatever it takes to change. Now, I'm
Mhm.
going to say that goes the same thing for us. It
That's
works the same
right.
Correct.
way.
That's
It works
right.
the same
Correct.
way. If you the whole marriage and your husband been telling you, hey, I am trying to get something out of you. I need you to express to me, tell me something. And you just sitting there like,
right.
I don't want to say nothing. I shouldn't have to say nothing. Then how's he going to get it? How's he
But
going to learn?
but when you shut down like that, Angelique, you think that person shut down the first time, or it's over a period of time that she don't feel like he's listening though? Because a woman don't shut down the first time. I don't believe that. I think
it depends on the woman.
Well, it depends on the woman, and it depends on the man too, right?
It does. It does. I mean, every situation is different, and I'm going to say this: you have to know your battles. I'm not gonna, and I learned that a while ago. I have to learn now that I'm married to him. It's different than when it was when I was dating, because at first.
She's freezing, but I'm gonna address what he's saying. He said, "Okay, what is love?" Well, first of all, love is a choice. It's not a feeling, because I can be married to you. You know how people say I fell in love and fell out of love. Well, if you're gonna base your marriage on that, guess what? You might be headed for divorce if you don't feel nothing. Like I heard a guy say one time, "Well, me and my wife done grew apart." How you grow apart? You is married to death. Do you apart? But so when
I
they say
wonder
like,
how that worked though.
Yeah, how love is a choice. I choose to love my husband. Whether I feel like if I wake up and you might say something crazy to me, I choose to love you. The love just don't stop because you do dumb stuff or say dumb stuff. I married you because I love you. I choose to love you. Love is not a feeling all the time. And the majority of the time, it's not a feeling. So if we sit here and say, well, I don't feel like I love you anymore. Well, I need somebody to answer that one for me. How does that work? When I don't feel.
Do you feel like love should rule everything? I rule everything else? How do y'all feel about that?
Should it?
Should love rule everything? And I'm going to say why I asked that. Because my pastor said something to me, and I was talking to him one day about a conversation about marriage. And what he said to me is, if you loved your husband now, before you married him, if you loved him, genuinely loved him, although you seen his faults, although you seen the
She freezing again. So what do the words say?
Genuinely love him.
It say love covers a multitude. Love covers a multitude of sins.
Yeah,
and that's all it says. Love covers a multitude of faults.
I think love. Back to what Angelique was saying. What do you say? You said the love cover everything. What was the question?
Does it should love rule everything, even in the time you've been married 10 years and y'all going through a real rough patch? Because you love them, should you be willing to forgive and discuss, forgive, and move forward?
Yeah. You forgive, but you forgive, but you don't ignore.
Right.
There's a difference. If you don't ignore it, you bring it to his attention how you feel about that. You don't ignore it, but you still love covers a multitude of faults and sins, but you still don't ignore that.
Right. And love does cover everything, but sometimes some things could be so hard coming from that person that even though you love them, you may have to separate from them. Right. You may have to break up from them. You may have to divorce them. I've seen people become better friends divorced than as a married couple. And it doesn't mean you don't love that person. It just means you can't live with that person, or there are things that they're not willing to change that you can no longer handle in the relationship. Like say, for instance, if you're married, you say you married somebody that used to drink, but then out of love and concern for you, he was able to, either refrain from that or do it very little. But what about a woman who's married to a crack addict? And that's a strong addiction, and she loves him. And I've seen women put that brother in rehab and rehab after rehab after rehab out of love. I want to see him get better, do better. But because he couldn't release that addiction, she had to go her way. And it didn't mean that she didn't love him. He just love wasn't strong enough for him to say, Lord, get me out of this for the sake of my marriage and my kids. And she had to walk away.
Because he was pulling her down.
He was tearing up everything. She was losing everything. They were in it, all her hard work. And she said, I love him so much, but I can't live like this anymore.
Right. Right.
And so you got different scenarios and situations. Some
Right.
people commit. Some people have had their husband have children out of the outside of the marriage.
Oh
Some
yeah.
women say, "Oh no, I love him, but I can't do that." Some women stay. So I
Well,
think it
that's
just
true. And my
depends
hats go
on
out
you.
to them. My hats go out to a woman if they stay.
That's a tough
I can't.
thing.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I couldn't even do it.
Pam,
I can't
Pam,
do it.
Sam don't cut no corners, baby.
Pam, Pam, you gotta come on. You gotta come on to the 20th century, Pam. Let me
Sam
say
don't
that.
cut no
Well, you
corners.
know what? Your pastor told me I'm stuck. So hey.
Oh, okay. Well, let me. I'm talking to you as a woman.
Sam
Well,
don't cut no
Lord
corners.
knows. Lord
like
knows.
you say, I will forgive you, but I got to move on.
Yeah, but you can't give you. You have to.
And I still think it just every woman. I keep saying this because we're three women with three different
That's true.
perspectives and three different
Right.
opinions,
Oh
and we're
yeah.
respecting
Right.
each other's
Right.
opinion. But I still think everything we do is based off of our own person and our own experience. You know,
That's
what I'm saying?
true.
Like every woman's different,
And
and
every man
so,
is.
yeah, yeah,
Right.
He's saying that love is different for a man. I
it
don't
Yeah.
should
understand
be.
that.
I thought he said he was gone.
Now,
Well, I don't understand that. You're gonna have to
I thought
explain
he
that
said
one to
he,
me.
but he's still commenting.
say a
Yeah, what
man's
does that
love is
mean?
like the blood of Jesus, the Christ that keeps washing her wrongdoings away. Her wrong. He say her wrong. Oh, her.
Oh no,
What about
he's
his
he's
wrongdoing?
a biased man.
No, he over there
Making her
judging what
new,
we call
making her
judging.
new every
He,
day.
he,
Oh
he
Lord.
pricking at us.
Oh,
He's just trying to stir up this talk show.
Yes,
no, he
yes.
must be single.
Well, yeah, he's single. I guess I don't know.
What is he stuck?
He must be
Are you
single. That's
stuck?
why he's saying stuff like that.
That's what a single man will say.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said, "Are
a
you
man that
Okay.
ain't ready.
He said
A
bad.
man that ain't ready for marriage.
Mhm, mhm.
But
But
anyway, like I
I
say,
love both of y'all's perspective. I
yeah.
love Angelique when you come with your perspective. It's more like like the balance and
Mhm.
seeing things, on both
Mhm.
sides and both perspectives. And
Yeah.
then Pam, you like just straight to shoot from the hip, like this is what that is, and this is it.
And Pam gonna have
And,
to
and,
change
and I
that.
love that
I'm
because
trying to get Pam married next year. I
but
can't
you
get her
know,
married if
but
she
Hey,
ain't
hey,
trying.
look here. What that ring
God
finger right
gonna
there?
send her the
That's
right
right.
man she needs.
Well, you get
It's
me
just
married, girl.
it's just different perspectives, and it's not either right or wrong. It's just
Oh
there
Lord,
you
oh
go.
Lord.
That's right. He gonna have to come over here and say something.
Now come on back. Come on back. Now come
Oh,
on
he
back.
over here talking about
Come
me and
on
love
back.
different. Baby, explain that to me.
Come on back. Yeah. Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Now, you
Explain
know
what
what
do you
the
want me
word
to
means.
explain?
How
Explain to
men
me
love
how
is
man
different.
loves a woman
And
different.
how y'all watching us making us new every day?
Oh, okay. Well,
Come
watch
on
this
now.
here. Let's go. We're gonna have a little divinity, then we'll go into the theology part.
Okay.
Okay.
But we're gonna have fun with it at the same time. That all right?
All
All
right.
right.
All right. A man's love is not a feeling; it's an obligation.
Mm.
The responsibility of him, even when things are not going well, all right, his responsibility is to still protect and provide and be transparent with her. Even if she's done had an affair, his job is still is to protect her
Mm.
and to show her, don't matter how far she has went, his behavior is demonstrated through the blood of Jesus Christ. Now, what did Jesus' blood do? It said it reaches to the highest mountain, flows through the lowest valley. It goes. You remember there was a prophet that his wife kept running away and she kept being with different men. That prophet had told him he had to go get his wife every time out of the whorehouse. Come on, let's talk. Because that was his love. It didn't matter what she did or didn't do, how she did it, what she was in there doing, what she was making, how she was shaking and dropping, how many men had to win inside of her and came out. His responsibility was beyond his feelings, but his obligation was more important. So a man's love, no matter what's going on in the household, He said, love your wife even as Christ loved the church. This is where the theology step is. If Christ had to die to make us get across the line, what are we supposed to do to get y'all across the line?
So you're saying this is how men, husbands are?
That's the
Oh,
way
this how men
husbands
think?
They
This is how they
supposed to be. They
should love?
supposed to be.
they
This is how they
supposed to
should
be.
love?
But here's the catch: is how you get it. It's called pillow talk. It's called Lord. Now, if that woman can lower Samson head into her lap and find out where his greatest powers is at, how come you don't know where your man power is? I got to go. I'm done. I'll leave y'all.
Oh, I know where it's power at, but I
I
don't
know
agree with
where
all
my
that.
man power
I don't know what
lies,
you talking
honey.
about.
I
That ain't
Huh?
trust me. I
What's
knew.
that again? I didn't hear you. She froze again. Her internet is bad. That's
Yeah, I
that
told
cold
her
ice.
internet. Yeah, it is.
That
It is.
cold ice got my
It's the
fingers
signal
sweating.
where she lives.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Angelique. He listened to you, Angelique.
So what you say?
Anyway, you on mute.
Oh, okay. I don't
Okay.
know what's wrong with my internet, y'all. I'm sorry about that.
Now, what did you just say, Angelique?
I don't that don't apply to every man. That is
No,
not
that
that
don't apply
does
to every
not
man.
apply to every man.
It applies to every man because God made every man a giant. When he said that it is a male, whether he walk in his shoes or not, he's a male. So if he ain't walking in his shoes, since you to help me, how come you ain't woke your giant up? That's the power you got in your mouth. The Bible says it's better for a man to be on the rooftop than to be in the house with a woman raising his head. If your mouth is that power to make him go to the roof, what is your power of your mouth to get him to do what you want him to do? So I'm done. I'm out. This y'all show. I'm out.
Bye.
Oh, okay. Angelique, you froze again. Okay. All right.
No. Tell me come back. Don't play with me. Play with me. Because I ain't gonna play with him. I don't agree with all that. That I don't know. Maybe that's for the Bible. But this day and time we're living in, men are not made that way. I know what the word says.
Yeah.
But a lot of men, because of how they were raised,
Mm-hmm.
I have
Well,
to
like
keep
you say, they
back
hadn't
to
been
that.
taught. Yeah.
They have not been taught that.
A lot of men don't even know their purpose. The thing about it, what he said, that's a man that know his purpose. These men don't know their purpose. They don't even know why they was created to even be here, and they especially don't know their purpose. If you know your purpose as a man, you know how to treat your wife.
Correct.
You know the purpose of a wife, and you know the purpose of a husband.
Yeah. Like he was talking about protecting and stuff like that. A lot of men don't have that in me. And I'm gonna tell you about me. I'm a very strong woman. And when I got married, Patrick had to let me know, okay, hey, I'm the man in this relationship. But because I'm strong and I used to be so independent, I had to ask God, okay, I have to sit back and allow him to be the man. I did. And that's something I had to humble myself. But I didn't lose it.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like I have to do it. I have to. I just and that's
understand. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm just being honest. And I'm not
You
trying to
know,
step
it
on
goes.
nobody's toes. But
Yeah.
I mean, hey.
But that whole learning to be humble and learning how to step back, you know, that was the process I was talking about, like having to grow up with each other. 'Cause my mom, like I said, I saw my mom raise two girls and have her own for 10 years of my life, and then leave a next husband at 8 months pregnant and raise three girls. So by herself until the next husband came along, she taught us to be very strong, independent women. And my brother at 22, like I had my own. And my brother, he would tell my brother being the baby, he said, I got some strong sisters. He tell everybody that. He was like, man, like they just don't. That's just how my mom raised us. Very independent. When Pastor met me, I had my own thing. I had bought my own car. So I had to learn to step back and let him be the man. And like Angelique said, it's still there. You better ask him. It's still there, but it was a process. It was a process of stepping back, because when you're strong, independent women, you know what you can do.
Right.
You know
and we're strong, independent women because we're single. I mean, I think that's what men miss it. I'm a single woman. I need to be independent. It's because nobody's in my life. But when he comes in my life, guess what? I'm gonna roll the red carpet out for you.
Yeah, correct.
I'm gonna roll that red carpet. Okay, hey, matter of fact, I'm gonna take my hat off and get to you because I'm tired of wearing it.
Tired.
I'm tired of wearing it. You know what I'm saying?
But Pam, do you think what Angelique said? Because I do agree with that. We've had these conversations before.
Yeah.
It's a taught thing. Do you think that the men that we feel like don't do this, don't do that, is because they don't know how to love correctly, because they were not taught? A lot of men grew up in a home with absent fathers, or they didn't have a positive role model to teach them and show them it's more than just whining and dining.
Right.
I got all that.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
It's
yeah.
more than that. It's
because after that whining and dining lead, reality is that sin.
And a lot of men think it's all about sex. A lot of men
feel
like their power. No, I'm just being honest. A lot of men feel like their power and their head and their leadership is what they can do in the bedroom.
And that's wrong teaching. That's wrong.
And that's what I'm saying. And that's because they haven't had they hadn't had that father figure. They hadn't had a real, I don't want to say real man, but they hadn't had that guidance.
Right.
Mom didn't teach them that a man is not supposed to hurt their woman. A man is not supposed to cheat on their woman.
Or shame her.
Supposed to love and honor their woman as a wife should do a husband. A lot of them haven't been taught those rules. But I'm not going to put it all on them, because women, there's some women out here too.
Oh,
because mama taught you some stuff don't mean everything she taught you was true.
It wasn't
tradition. In just regular relationships, a lot of things are traditional, like it is in the church house. And although we've been taught certain things back in the day in the church house, don't mean it was right. And we are learning that now. We should be, especially in the day and time we're in, that the way we were taught 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, or our parents
it doesn't apply today.
It doesn't apply today.
It doesn't apply today.
I think things in marriages is traditional as well. That's the way it is, because mama taught you that way, or you seen mama go through this, or you seen how a man used to treat your mama. You felt like that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's not true.
No.
That's true. That is true. That's true. Well, if we get back to God had a plan, and it's the Bible. In that Bible, he told them men how to treat us, how we supposed to treat them. You know what I'm saying? But when we out here in the world, we're doing worldly things. But when you find your purpose, you know what I'm saying? When you know who you are now, then you do things differently. And I think, like I said, we're talking about regrets tonight. That's why we have so many regrets. Now, Lamar, God don't change.
He doesn't.
No,
and the word doesn't either. And
the word don't change either. So if God tell y'all to love us, y'all need to love us.
And he tells us to tell them to love us like Christ loves the church.
That's right. And he won't hurt his own body. You know what? If you don't hurt your own body, why you hurting her? Because when you hurt her, you hurt yourself.
Yeah.
So we can't pick and choose what we want in the word. We got to do the whole word.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll pick and choose what we want to do, or we want to do the church. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah. So, ladies, we have 2 minutes left. So I know we done went left, right, up and down,
all around.
So Angela, okay, now Angela, I told you because Angelique, she closes out with the singles, right? So I want you to tell everyone out there about regrets in marriage. Just sum it up. Which way you want to go?
Just sum it up. I believe that in before the dating process even begins, for those who are seeking to get married, seek God first. Seek God and to send you the man that he has created for you. It's not going to be peaches and cream all the way, but if you trust God, seek God. See, in the flesh, we don't seek God, we seek the man. And so that's why we get into these relationships and we have these marriages that we have regrets. Only advice I can give you is seek God in all things, and he will give you the man your heart desires. And if that man follows Christ, truly follows Christ, he's going to love you like Christ loved the church.
That is true.
That means you have to allow
See, she froze. She had a word for me.
Every time she had something to say.
She had a word for me. Come on, Angelique. I need to hear that.
Allow him. You have to allow God to use him. And you can't just turn him away because of what you expect.
You talking to me now? Or you talking to me?
To you.
I'm talking to you. You know what? And I agree, because here's the thing. I believe what the word of God says. If you know better, you do better. And when you know better, you should be in love. You should be doing better. And then we got to step back and close our mouths.
Okay, well, Angelique, I need the full message. You know my number. But anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. And like Angelique said, this topic on regrets, I don't know, Angelique. Y'all might have to come back. I know we're gonna talk about it, okay? But anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. You guys have a good night. Stay safe and be blessed. And we'll see you next time.
All right, bye.